Kelsey. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I'm wearing my fancy booktube hat, and today I'm bringing you a TBR video for the books that I would like to read for the Tome Topple Readathon. Now today, as I'm filming this, is November 18th. This is the first day of the readathon. It runs from today until December 1st, so it is a 2-week readathon because it is all about reading bigger books. This is the second time the Tome Topple Readathon has happened, so this is round 2. I very much enjoyed participating the first time, so I'm looking forward to this as well. The readathon is hosted by Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. She has assembled a list of co-hosts who are helping her run it and running Twitter sprints and so forth, and they're active across various social media, not just YouTube. I will link the announcement video for the readathon as well as all of the co-hosts in the description box. I will also leave there for you information about the challenges. There is a Goodreads group this time around, which I will link for you, and also there is a Twitter account, so I will link that for you as well. There is also a hashtag, and the hashtag is #TomeTopple. Again, all of that information I will make easily accessible for you if you would like to jump in and join the readathon, or if you'd just like to know more about it. So for the purposes of Tome Topple, a tome is a book over 500 pages. This time around, bind-ups aren't counting. I think they did last time, but they're not counting this time except for graphic novels. I have 3 books that I decided I really wanted to read before the challenges were announced. I think I am going to try to meet all of the challenges though, so I will talk about those after I introduce these 3 books and tell you how I plan to meet them. So the first book that I will probably be starting later today is A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. This is the sequel to A Darker Shade of Magic. It's the middle book in an uncompleted trilogy. The 3rd book isn't out yet. It's coming out sometime next year. This is probably going to be the lightest, quickest read of the books that I'm planning on reading. It is only 509 pages, and the chapter breaks have these like full page breaks with blank pages here, which makes me feel a little bit like it's cheating. But I think this will be a good way to ease me into the readathon with something that should be pretty easygoing. Since I read A Darker Shade of Magic, my feelings about it have grown really lukewarm, so I'm going to see if this book can get me more excited about this series and about V.E. Schwab's writing. The next book I have here is going to be one step up from that in increasing length and complexity. This is Child of the Prophecy by Juliet Marillier. This is the 3rd book in her Seven Waters series. It is the final book in the original trilogy. That trilogy was later expanded into a longer series. I read Daughter of the Forest and Son of the Shadows, which I enjoyed both of those. Those were both 4-star books for me. This is a historical fae fantasy series that's sort of a multi-generational saga following the family of the household of Seven Waters. I think each book in the original trilogy at least follows someone from the next generation on. This one is 528 pages, so it's a little longer than this one. My experience with Juliet Marillier's writing is that it's denser than V.E. Schwab's, but I get very engaged in it. It sucks me in, and I think I'm just going to eat this up. And then book number 3 here I am planning on starting during the readathon, but because it is the biggest and the meatiest and I am starting it 3rd, I'm not making any promises to myself or anyone else that I'm going to finish it. In fact, I'm kind of anticipating that I won't finish it by the end of the month, and that is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This is something I'm very, very excited to read because it is a favorite book of some of my real-life friends whom I trust for book recommendations. It's historical fantasy, which is something I love, and I gather that it's written sort of like a 19th century period novel, and so I'm expecting that the writing is going to be pretty dense, but I'm also expecting that it's going to be really worthwhile, and it is long. It's over 1,000 pages, this edition. I don't know if all editions of this are the same length. This edition is 1,006 pages. But I think this is just going to be a sort of book that I'm really going to want to be reading, diving into the winter months here. Now, I would also like to try to meet the challenges of this readathon, which were announced a week ago or so, and so I'm going to run through those and address how I'm going to go about them. There are 5 challenges. The first is to read more than one tome. If I finish more than one of these during the 2 weeks, I will have succeeded. If I finish 2 books, that will be good. Number 2 is the one that tripped me up, and I was pretty certain I wasn't going to try for this challenge, and then I changed my mind. Challenge number 2 is to read a graphic novel, and for this time around, it is not a graphic novel break as it was last time. The challenge this time is to read a graphic novel that is itself over 500 pages. I am not a very frequent reader of graphic novels. I've read a few, but they're not high on my radar, so my first reaction was, gosh, I don't know of any 500-page graphic novels that I actually want to read. But then I did some research into what graphic novels are available in like omnibus editions, and I discovered that there might be something I would want to read if I could get my hands on it, and that would be the omnibus edition of Digger by Ursula Vernon. This is an award-winning graphic novel about, I gather it is about a practical-minded wombat who finds her way by accident into a very strange fantasy world and just wants to get back. So it sounds like it's incredibly strange and imaginative, and it's something that I'm curious to read. It's also something that I don't think I would have maybe ever gotten around to picking up were it not for this sort of challenge. So I see that as sort of the ultimate goal of a challenge, is to get you to pick up something that you might not have picked up otherwise. Part of the reason that I don't think I was ever going to get around to reading this is because my library doesn't have it. And so I have ordered it on Amazon, and it will be coming before the end of the readathon, and it is pretty expensive, so I am hoping that it turns out to be worth my money. Challenge number 3 is to read a tome that is part of a series. These 2 are both part of a series. This is second in a series, this is third in a series. So I have that challenge covered double. Challenge number 4 is to buddy read a tome. If you would like to specifically buddy read any of these books that I've mentioned with me, feel free to send me a message, get in touch, and I would love to do that with you. But also to facilitate a buddy read on the Goodreads group, there are topics that are discussion topics specifically for several books that are over 500 pages that are anticipated to be popular reads for this readathon, and for the purposes of the challenge, discussing a book on one of those threads with other people who are reading it does count as a buddy read. So right now I know there are multiple people on there planning on reading Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. This is the book that I don't think I'm going to finish during the readathon, so even though I have this sort of lined up as a Goodreads group buddy read, I'm not sure I'm going to finish it. There is also currently a topic for A Gathering of Shadows on there, but so far I'm the only person who's commented in this topic, so I'm crossing my fingers that someone else will join me. If you're planning on reading this book over the next couple weeks, drop a message in the Goodreads group topic for it and say hi to me, please. And of course, if you would like to buddy read either Child of the Prophecy or Digger with me, please feel free to get in touch. And the 5th and final challenge is to read an adult novel. The purpose of this, I think, is to read something that is going to be 500 pages of adult novel standard, if you will, size font, because YA is frequently very long in page numbers, but not so much in actual content because the text is larger than what is standard for adult. That said, all three of these are adult novels, even though this one has a good deal of crossover appeal for YA readers. So I have that challenge totally covered. Let me know if you're participating in Tome Topple, what you're planning on reading. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you have anything you'd like to tell me about them. Okie dokie, I will see you soon again, I hope. That is all. Bye for now.